we got everything going. All right. They have like a new upgrade, so I'm still trying to figure things out. Let me make sure I have the chat up. We had a members only live Friday, and we don't have a lot of members in the chat. Shout out to Butterfly. I mean, in the chat, in the membership. Shout out to Butterfly and Lady Tina. And I didn't think they had jumped on live Friday. And I mean, I was just running my mouth, running my mouth, running my mouth. And the whole time Butterfly was there, I didn't have the chat open. So I want to make sure I did that first. So we're going to let people come on in. Happy International Women's Day to all the women that's part of the Real Ones tribe. It is officially our day, ladies. So happy International Women's Day. So we are gonna have for sure one special guest. If you seen my conversation video with Courtney, she's a former Jehovah's Witness. She's going to be joining me, but she texted me about 30 minutes ago. She's running a bit late getting back to the house. So she'll probably jump on in another 10, 15 minutes. And if you could put a 1 in the chat so I can make sure you can hear me, because I know you can see me and I can see your chat. But I want to make sure I am coming through clearly. So we'll go from there. And everything. So we're going to have a special discussion today. So looking forward to it. Hopefully people can get on. I know springing ahead may have people kind of behind a little bit, but hey, Esty. Hopefully, we'll get people tuned in this Sunday. So while we wait for people to come in and everything, thank you, Esty, thank you. As we wait for people to come in, wait for Courtney to come on in, I always like to start with wins. So I'm gonna start with my win. My win is I was able to do everything I said I was gonna do in regards to the channel. I said I was going to put up 2 videos. Now, they didn't get up Tuesday and Thursday, but I did get them up Tuesday and Saturday. So, Tuesday video was about, what was it about? I didn't forget already. Tuesday, I uploaded the video about, let me see, y'all. I be forgetting. What was Tuesday video about? Oh yeah, it was about the Let Them Theory book. And then yesterday I finally was able to get my proactive versus reactive Black men and their health video up. Hey, Adisol. So didn't get it up on Tuesday and Thursday, and I think I got to take a little bit of the pressure off and just say 2 videos per week, because life happened. Pepper had to go to the vet for like shots and anal glands. But then later on that same day, him and Kingston must have been roughhousing when I was down here working, and he must have sprained like his foot or whatever. So he walking around with his foot. I was like, oh my God. It was just stuff on top of stuff. So I was like, okay, Tuesday and Thursday might sound, very ambitious, but I'm gonna stick to the 2 videos per week for sure. You got to put some expectations on yourself. Got to put some expectations on yourself. So that's my win. I did get my 2 videos up, and so proud of myself with that. In my clinic, we're starting our I like to do like challenges each month. Sometimes it's a week long, sometimes it's 14 days, sometimes it's a month. And so this month we're doing miles in March. So it's basically encouraging movement. Everybody, well, I shouldn't say everybody that's able to can walk, right? And so you can either do 2 miles or 3 miles. So we starting that today. So I'm already out to a good start. I probably got, yeah, maybe about 1,500 more steps and I'll be at 3 miles. That's my goal. So that's all I got going on. Spent the day. Today is really nice here in Chicago. I think it got up to maybe almost 60, but it was, sunny. It was nice. Took the dogs on a little bit of a walk. Now tomorrow's supposed to be 70. So it's gonna be it's gonna be plenty of people in the street. Let's just say that. So, all right, well, we're gonna go ahead and get started. Like I say, let me just double check and see if Courtney said anything. Okay. So she didn't say anything else. So we'll go ahead and get started. And as people join, we'll go from there. So, like I said, it kind of hit my heart with March being Women's Month, but today is International Women's Day. I just got to thinking some of the content that I got coming down the pipeline about like wanting to have a discussion around, uh, you know, being a woman who's a former JW, or like sometimes we get people that come to the live and they are, what is it, physically and mentally out, but they don't know how they can leave, right? Because maybe their husband is an elder, maybe their daddy is an elder, some type of male influence. So I thought today, kind of dedicating it to that space would be a good thing. So just wanted to share um, why, International Women's Day or even Women's Month is a big deal. And it's because it's a reminder for us to reclaim our autonomy. And this is just women in general, but specifically when you're coming out of a high control, religious organization or any kind of high control environment, right? It's important to reclaim your autonomy. It helps you find your voice. It redefines your identity. And, it's just a good way to support other women. So, not necessarily a holiday, I guess, but it's, just a reminder of the importance of being a woman, what that means, looking at the advancements of women and things of that nature. So, we're gonna go ahead and get started. And once Courtney jump on, and hopefully some other people will jump on as well, we'll just keep it going. So, first thing I wanted to talk about was reclaiming your voice after leaving a high control religion. So I know some of us are months out, some of us are years out, some of us are decades out, right? So many women who leave high control environments talk about finding their voice either for the first time or finding it again. So let's talk about, were you encouraged to express your opinions growing up? This is for anybody who was like kind of born and raised in it. I was not born and raised in it, but I can just speak from, I don't know if I was encouraged about what my opinion was. I don't even know if I had an opinion when I was a kid. So, I don't know. I think I'm of a generation, regardless of religion or what have you, that the saying, it was like kids should be seen and not heard kind of thing. So I don't think nobody was really asking my opinion, but for those who may have grew up in an organization, what was your experience growing up? Was your opinion, ever asked for? Did anybody ever take it in consideration? We also can talk about how did being a JW shape the way you saw the role of a woman. Now, for me, coming in as an adult and being a pretty independent adult woman, it was a little bit challenging because they would act like, at least in my opinion, they would act like because you a woman, like you ain't had no brain cells. Like I couldn't understand why I couldn't find my own seat, you know. Um, I don't know why that used to bother me, because it's not like they got, it's not like they was ushers, like in like in church or what have you. So I used to always feel like, why can't I find my own seat? You know, um, yeah, and just things of that nature. So, um, any thoughts about that? I have another question that kind of falls under that. Did you ever feel pressure to stay quiet or stay in your lane? Now, I can speak to that as well. Like I said, not from being born in or growing up in, but yeah, I feel like not only was I getting it from older sisters, but sometimes I would get what is it called, passive aggressive comments from men, because I did have like a professional career. I did make pretty good money. It did not help that I can't remember what year it was, but when Rahm Emanuel was the mayor of Chicago, he was really ticked off that the Chicago Teachers Union, was requesting more money, more administrative time, all these things. So he put every single person who worked for Chicago Public Schools, he put their name and their salary in the newspaper. And so, yeah, I had people at that Kingdom House saying, I saw your name in there. I saw your name in there. And they would say that, but it's like, what you really saying is you saw how much money I made. You know what I'm saying? Which I thought that was so um, dangerous, right? For him to do that. But he did. And so um, for me, I feel like it was a constant struggle um, to, I don't know, I guess, hold on to a sense of my independence. Um, growing up, I was always taught like grown people, um, grown people are self-sufficient, right? And so that was drilled into my head. So coming to Jehovah's Witness, they want to kind of make you this weaker vessel because you're a woman. Um, yeah, it was like a double-edged sword, because on one hand, they would come to me when they needed larger donations. They didn't have a problem coming to me as a woman then, because they knew I could, maybe give $100 or do something like that. But then on the flip side, it's like, well, you just a woman, so we need to find your seat, and things of that nature. So I can only imagine people who were born and raised in it, who may, still struggle with reclaiming their voice, or claiming it for the first time. I see videos all the time of women who are former Jehovah's Witnesses who do struggle, you know, in standing up for themselves, making their opinions known. Like even though they out of the organization, they still kind of struggle asserting themselves, like in the regular world, or at work or something like that. So Um, so what would you say is one way that you all reclaimed your voice since leaving? What's like a way, what's one way that you feel like, yeah, I kind of reclaimed my voice? Who was I looking at a video or was I talking to somebody? And they were saying, oh shoot, I can't remember. I can't remember if I was watching a video or if I was having a discussion with somebody, and they were just saying like, or was it me? I think it was me about like not going back and forth. I think I was talking to somebody about it, like not going back and forth with people, in regards to why you don't go to the hall anymore. Why did you uh, marry somebody that wasn't a witness, all the things that they feel like they have the right to ask you, that I do not believe they would ask the same questions they would ask of a woman. Is the chat still working? Because I don't see nothing in the chat. Let me just see. Okay. If a lot of things that I feel that they ask women, they would not ask a man. I just don't. I do not think that they would do that. So, but yeah. So let's see. Other questions. Hey, Esty. I don't know where everybody at. I guess the spring forward is dark now outside here in Chicago. I guess it got everybody thrown off. So the second thing, um, and I think this is the part that I think my heart breaks the most for women who are still in the JW organization, is the emotional labor women carry, right? Like, I don't know, right? It's like most religions here in America, maybe with the exception of maybe Islam. But most of your Christian religions, from my observation, I haven't done no real research. It looks like they are majority women, right? Majority women in the Baptist church, and things of that nature, right? Um, it's usually the woman, the grandma, the mother, kind of carrying the religious or spiritual responsibility for the family. And so when I think about Jehovah's Witness women, um, like we don't hear a lot of stories of the wife waking up and the husband follows suit, right? In most cases, it's either they woke up at the same time, like was questioned, at the same time, or the husband woke up, but yet that the woman, I feel like the woman is still kind of locked in with the organization because the elders are, putting the pressure on her to try to help, win the husband back into the fold. And so that's a lot of pressure. I remember um, doing a video, and I think I had a discussion, I want to say maybe with Isaac. And I think he did a video kind of talking about it too, that when you think about a JW woman, right? If, if her husband's not reaching out, people will look at her like, well, why is she not, encouraging him to go out, right? And then let's say he do want to reach out, but let's say the wife wake up, or the wife is just like, I'm not as zealous as my husband, then it still fall back on her, because instead of it being like all eyes on him, like, okay, let's just focus on him. He doing good. He had a household. It's like, well, what's wrong with her? She got this good Christian man, and she not pioneering and things like that. So at the end of the day, it's like you can't win for losing when you're a woman in the organization. That uh it's the pressure to maintain the appearances, right? The pressure to maintain the appearances. And again, it's just all the weight is on the women. Like I said, being the spiritual backbone for the family. But yet they don't have no real authority, right? They could be the ones making sure the kids do they study, are ready for the meetings, this, that, and the third. They could, they can be the ones taking the kids out in service and all that stuff. But they ain't got no say, you know. What you say? Esty said, "Highness will fade due to exhaustion." Then my MS husband. Oh, really? Okay. But I wonder, Esty, do you think that your husband probably already kind of had some doubts? Do you think that he kind of already had some doubts that he was able to just kind of follow on through? Or maybe he was exhausted too. Being a Jehovah's Witness, like, I don't know what they doing now. I don't know what they doing now. Jerron did a couple of videos and he was just like, I cannot. He's like, basically, like, he can't even wrap his mind around, like, who is doing this. But I say it all the time. I'll be like, how was I doing this? And I'm like, oh, well, maybe because I was single. Oh, maybe I was a teacher, so it wasn't like I was working, like an 8-hour shift somewhere. But when a organization got mad control over you, you don't even realize how exhausted you are until you get a break. That's why we saw what appears to be a lot of people, faded when C-19 hit. When they was able to go to Zoom, that's all she wrote. There's plenty of people who never went back. So, hi, Patty. So, yeah, it's just unbelievable. Unbelievable. So with that, SD, okay, let's see. My husband was exhausted, but I knew something was not right with the JW. Yeah. Mm-hmm. SD, you came in as an adult. Is that right? I think I remember you saying that you came in as an adult. Um, Correct me if I'm wrong. Yeah, so no doubt him having love for you made it easier. But I'm sure, I am so sure he probably even if they weren't saying it in a passive aggressive way, I have no doubt that they were I'm sure them brothers was talking about him behind his back. Like, oh, his wife left and he just gonna follow his wife. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Was your husband did he come in as an adult as well? Because I think that do make a difference. I think that make a difference too. Um, I know since having this channel, I've met people, and the husbands are the ones who have woke up and went, and no longer part of the organization. But they not telling the wife, hey, you need to wake up. They might be trying to, drop those nuggets and things like that. But like in a general way, a lot of those guys, it's like the wife's family is like clamping down on the wife. Like, no, you not gonna leave either. So now these women gotta choose between, you know, staying, married, happily married for the most part, you know, to my husband who no longer wants to go to the hall, but he not giving me an ultimatum and saying I gotta stop going, right? Um, or basically be a pseudo single woman to appease the organization and their family. Oh, okay. You say your husband didn't want to go to the meetings alone. I don't blame him. I don't blame him. But yeah, I think about how many people how many women I didn't even know was married. I thought they were single because their husbands never came to the hall. And so until like maybe the memorial or something like that. And then I was just thinking they was like not JWs or whatever. And they like, no, they just inactive and things of that nature. So then now those women, they used to feel like they had to just, make sure that their kids was like perfect JW kids. And it was like they just, had all this pressure to carry the weight of the family. Um, because the husband is like, I'm not doing this. I'll come to the memorial, I'll come to the special talk. I may come to an assembly or two, but that's it. Mm, mm, mm. Essie say, my husband was an adult convert. He was born and raised Catholic, joined the Moonies in 1980, then joined the JWs in the 1990s. Okay. So he sounds like somebody who always been seeking. And when you are a seeker, that's when these religions will clamp down on you, for sure. Um, all right, let's move on. So identity after leaving. So I see a lot of people, men and women, struggling with this. Discovering who you are outside of the organization. I think I recently mentioned that in one of these videos that for me, because I didn't grow up this way, I used to be, sometimes be like, why are they struggling so much? Why are they struggling so much? And I think after my conversation video with Jerron, it really clicked for me that when you've kind of been told everything, uh, you know, because you're a Jehovah's Witness, you don't do this. Because you're Jehovah's Witness, you don't do that. Because you're a Jehovah's Witness, you only do this. You only be with these people. You've been told who you are. So then when you wake up and you realize that these people are blowing smoke up my butt, you know what I'm saying? Then it's like you get out and you don't even know who you are because for however long you've been told who you are. So imagine the struggle maybe a man might have with that experience, but imagine a woman, um, especially because of the kind of the nature and the way that the JW organization is built. You don't really get any real opportunities to tap into any of your strengths. You don't. I was reading something in one of these XJW Facebook groups, and the lady was saying something about like how she hated giving talks, being pressured to get up there, give this unnatural talk and things of that nature. And because of that experience, like she still kind of has this thing, about her. And so it's like, again, a perfect example. Yeah, I had mentioned that in a video not too long ago. Like people will make it seem like, oh, you're a JW, because I was a JW. I know how to give, public talks and I know how to publicly speak and all that stuff. That's not necessarily true. It's very curated. It's not like, you took the time to really put it together. They giving you the outline, and they used to give you such unnatural unnatural settings. It used to be like, what? Like this this question about this date in the Bible would never come up on the bus. You know, used to always be some old weird, um, weird scenario or what have you. So for people who have left, do you find yourself still like struggling to develop friendships or a sense of a community? Now, obviously for me, I went right back. I didn't have no problem because I never cut off like all my non-JW friends. I didn't cut off my family and things of that nature. I just didn't, do all the things like I may have before, you know. But I couldn't imagine. I couldn't imagine. I know seemed like the JWs who kind of struggled the most once they went to therapy and was just reassured that hey, you was in a cult, you were raised in a cult, so to have all these questions and thoughts and things of that nature, it is completely, excuse me, normal. It's completely normal. So don't beat yourself up and things like that. Like like I say, I didn't, even though I didn't grow up in it, I did still carry, shame about it. Like, dang, how I let myself get sucked into it, and things of that nature. And it will strip away who you are. And so the world is already, a tough place for women. Here, in America, we have laws that, can dictate whether women can terminate a pregnancy even if it means saving her life or not. Not sure if y'all had seen about the case of the I believe she was a nurse. So a black nurse was pregnant. um I can't remember what happened. I think she ended up having a stroke and basically was declared brain dead. But because she was, I don't know, maybe 4 months pregnant or something like that, they kept her alive on life support. I think until the baby was like 6 months, and then did a C-section. So it's just absolutely terrible. Being a woman is hard. Being a woman is hard, and then for me, put being a black woman on top of that is harder. Um, but I couldn't imagine being anything else because this is all I know. Um, but um, yeah, it's so many things against you in the world as a woman. So to have an organization like the JWs, I can only imagine. I can only imagine. Let's see. As he said, I was only a householder once. After that, when I changed congregation, I don't blame you. Oh man, I felt the exact same way. I was very angry when I realized I was. Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Who else we got on here? Say hi, y'all. So what was I about to say? Speaking of that, again, the pressure, right? I could be wrong, but I just feel like they wouldn't have gave no man the pressure that they gave me. So I wanted to come off the school too. Um, and so at first, no. So yeah, I wanted to come off the school. So I was starting nursing school, and I was like, "Hey, I need to come off the school because it. First of all, it seemed like I came up way too often, right? Either I'm the person developing the talk, or I'm the householder, and it's just like, why do I keep coming up? Ain't it supposed to be like 60, 70 people that's part of this school or whatever?" So I was like, "Hey, I need to come on off." And it was like, well, what we can do, we can just make you the householder, and we'll put you on a whatever it was, like 12 weeks or whatever. And I was like, of course, feeling the pressure. I'm like, okay, we'll see. That came around, and I think I did that one talk. And then after that, I just was like, kind of like you, Esty. I was like, yo, take me off. Nursing is kicking my butt. And I need to focus on school or whatever. And I never got back on. And they, after I graduated and stuff like that, they would be like, you need to get back on the school. You need to get back on the school. And I was, of course, I was already starting to, tap out then. But it was just like, what did I get being on the school? What did I get? Nothing but undue anxiety. Sitting up here, I knew I could never be an actress because I can't memorize lines. If y'all watch any of my long form videos, y'all see sometimes I'll be like, forget it. I'm gonna read this right from the notes. I just cannot, it's not one of my talents. And it's okay. But I just feel like if a man has said, hey brothers, I need to come off the school, I got a lot going on at work and at home, they would have said, okay. But it's me, they think, oh, you just in nursing school. I can't even remember if I was still working at that time, because I started nursing school like in September and 2013, and then January of 2014 I officially resigned from teaching. So I was still, like, I was in nursing school and I was still teaching. um what am I getting? And then half the time they wouldn't even mark my book, right? Get all your talking points marked and this, that, and the third, so you can end up getting a new book. Oh my God, sometimes I just be like ready to just bop myself up the head with all the dumb stuff that that I just was believing to get along, go along to get along kind of thing. Oh, this is the wrong phone. So yeah, it could be a struggle for people to um, either reclaim or claim for the first time their true identity. So I think this is my last point. Uh, oh no, I got two more points. So boundaries, which is a huge thing. It's the hard. I think it's one of the hardest things um, for XJWs to do, especially when they got like a lot of families still in um, that do want to kind of engage with them. Um, and I don't know why it's so hard. Um, yeah, being a JW is very stressful. It is. I did never have anxiety until I became a JW. And the longer I had been a part of it, I remember like, why am I so anxious about stuff? You know? And once I left, I realized it was because of that. And I was like, this is why everybody on some type of anxiety medication or depression. It's like this is a very anxiety and depression induced religion, you know? Um, so boundaries. As a XJW, I think that I think that XJWs, they struggle with it. But I kind of don't understand why, because they family ain't got no problem with putting boundaries on them when they shun them, right? Um, so like shout out to all the people who parents and family still kind of interact with them, but they set that boundary like, hey, we can be around each other. I won't, talk against the organization when we in each other's presence, and you won't try to preach to me when we need in each other's presence. Like the boundaries. And when you're a woman, they don't respect them. Um, I don't know. I could be wrong. I just I just don't think men who leave get the same amount of pressure like women do. Now I'm a woman with a whole husband, so it ain't like I'm single and I need some protection and anything like that. And they still, I have been gone from that congregation 9 years, and whenever they get opportunity, they still trying to reel me back in. And I just feel like, and then this last time, um, brung up my husband, and I'm just like, had to set the boundaries. Like we're not talking about it. So that it's like it never fathomed that I woke up. It confirmed the narrative that I figured they all thought is, oh, she met this man and he pulled her away from Jehovah. No, I was already pulling away. Y'all just didn't realize it. And what's so crazy, y'all? Before I met my husband, I was not reconsidering, but considering moving back to Atlanta. I used to live in Atlanta in my early 20s. So I started looking at different programs because at that time, I don't even think I hadn't even been like a licensed nurse for a year. So I was looking at some of the new nurse programs and things like that, and was starting to get the applications and things of that nature. And uh, when I was doing that, I was telling my mom, I was like, when I go down to Atlanta, I ain't going to nobody Kingdom Hall. I ain't asking them to transfer no card. I'm just gonna stop going to the meetings. And, hopefully they'll just leave me alone. I'm like, and if I have to, I will have to change my phone number, or get me a new number, and just, keep my old number, but like have it be deactivated or something like that. That's a shame. That is a shame that I'm sitting up here planning an escape plan from a religion. You know, that's what I was doing. But I ended up meeting my husband, so he was a good reason to stay here in Illinois. So I didn't go, you know. But yeah, boundaries, boundaries, boundaries. All right, last thing. What freedom looks like now? So, what does freedom look like for you today? What are you doing now that you couldn't do before? What advice would you give women still waking up? So, I would say, obviously, freedom looks like me doing my own thing. I don't, I don't worry about who see what I do and things of that nature. I don't, as my husband say on our first date, he say, I kept looking around, looking around. I was like, I was not looking around. Believe you me, in the middle of the day, on a Tuesday or whatever day it was, ain't no Jehovah's Witnesses at Papa Do's. They all at work. Now, if it had been the weekend, assembly or something like that, maybe. But, freedom for me, today just looks like me living life, doing what I do, having this channel, giving my thoughts about the religion, and not, being afraid and things of that nature. And to be honest, not, how can I say this without sounding like a butthole? Not like I'm not overly concerned or concerned at all about how JWs feel about me or what I'm saying or what I'm doing, or me no longer being a part of the organization. I'm living life. Only person I'm concerned with is me. you know I gotta like me. It ain't other people's responsibility to like me. I gotta like me. So I'm all about doing things that bring me comfort and make me feel seen, which is part of what we're talking about today. Things that make me feel seen, things that let me know that I matter. Rest in peace to Jesse Jackson. They laid him rest yesterday. At the end of the day, I am somebody. You know how many times in a talk, you're told you're nobody, basically, at the Kingdom Hall. I never forget this one CEO. I really liked him because he was like an older guy. He kind of reminded me of like my grandfathers and like my great uncles and you know, things like that. But I never forget. And this is when I was like, I don't know if I'm feeling him no more. This one talk, they came to visit for the week, and it was how they would do two talks. Like they would do a talk, do a quick watchtower, and then like a concluding talk. So he was giving that concluding talk, and he kept saying, "You're good for nothing slaves. You're nothing. You're worth less than dirt. You're nothing." Like I was just like, "Oh my God." And I never forgot that. And I was just like, hmm, if like that's part of it, you know. That's why so many of them still there, because they don't believe that they somebody. They don't believe that they could be somebody. They don't believe they could be happy outside of that organization. They don't believe they can experience happiness or joy in the world, right? And so, yeah, freedom is knowing that all the stuff they said, all the things they try to, put on you, and it's not just the JWs, it's other, religions have their views, um, what I consider poor views of women, right? Not really holding women, in a high regard and things of that nature. And it's like, well, let them. Like, like my video said, let them. You know. Um, so freedom is like I say, knowing I deserve, to be happy. I have the right to take up space, and do all the things that are in my power to do. You know. What was the second question I had? What are you doing now that couldn't do before? Well, I started a little series here on the channel. So anytime I do something that was frowned upon in the JWs, I do a little video about it. But I do all the things. I don't feel bad about celebrating my birthday. Like I'm not a over the top type person. I'm not these people. I'm not one of these people who celebrate all month long and things of that nature. But yeah, I'm gonna recognize it because I got too many friends and family who didn't get to live to see 51, and things of that nature. So I'm not going to hold back on that. Hey, Melissa, not going to hold back on that. You know, I celebrate the holidays. I guess you can say, I did just take down my Christmas tree, but my Christmas tree this year for me it was more so just to see if the dogs get excited, seeing the lights, make me, remember my grandma and just kind of hold on to the feeling I had, at Christmas time with family, Um, what else? I watch what I want to watch. I do what I want to do. You know, my rule of thumb has always been I'm never going to do anything that I would be embarrassed uh, to do in front of my mama or my daddy. That's been my measuring stick for God knows how long. I was an old lady when I was a kid. When my friends was doing stuff that they ain't had no business doing, I used to be like, ain't you scared your mama gonna find out? Ain't you scared your daddy gonna find out? So they used to call me Mama T in college because I used to be like, nope, I ain't going to drink, I ain't going to smoke, I ain't going to do none of that with nobody. Um, so yeah, and I'm working on a video um, talking about things, three things that didn't sit right with me as a woman, when I was a Jehovah's Witness, and so I'm trying to package that third thing the right way. But the gist of it is, and I don't know if y'all might have experienced this or personally, or somebody in the Kingdom Hall, but the vibe I used to get when people would talk to me sometimes, because I was single, because I wasn't too bad on the eyes, right? Had a lot going on for myself. They made it seem like you if I wasn't a JW, or like prior to being a JW, I must have been a hoe. Let's just put it out there. And once becoming a Jehovah Witness, I no longer was a hoe. But if I lead Jehovah Witnesses again, I'll go back to hoeing. And I'm just like, this is a great assumption that these people are making. I had people kind of asking me that. Sister Long-Winded, if you ever seen one of my videos and I talked about somebody named Sister Long-Winded, one time we was eating Mexican food at this place called Don Pedro's in I don't know if that's Burnham or Calumet City, but if y'all from the area, y'all know what I'm talking about. And we just sitting there, having margaritas, eating whatever. And then she comes and asks me, she says, "You're attractive, you're young. Um, you know, do you think that, if you weren't in the truth, that you probably would be sleeping around?" And I'm like, who's she talking to? And I was like, no. Like, before I became a witness, I didn't sleep around. That's not who I am. Like, that's the other thing, you know, it's like the people who probably be the most debauched is the ones that are in the organization, because it sounds like clearly if they were not in the organization, they would just be out here. So after I, gave her my response, I was like, no, I was like, that ain't my thing. Never has. Then she proceeds to tell me, she's like, oh yeah, if I wasn't in, and I think she was trying to, I guess, trick me up. Um, she said, oh, if I wasn't in it, I know I would be sleeping around. I really enjoy sex. Now imagine, we never had these kind of conversations. So I was just like, what is going on? Right. And like in hindsight, especially like, leaving, and I be, thinking of stuff um when I'm doing videos. I don't know. She might have had some whole tendencies in her, I guess. But I wonder if I think it might have been 50-50. I think she was trying to, like, I almost feel like it was a not genuine lunch date. I think the people in my congregation, I think they were constantly trying to figure me out. Why was I, a single sister, not rushing to get married because so many in the organization do, because they want to have sex? So I guess they felt like she must be having sex with somebody else, that's not a Jehovah's Witness. And I hate to disappoint them. No, I wasn't. I didn't go on a single date, not even for ice cream, with anybody for 11 years, because I just was like, I'm not going to waste my time. As my brother and everybody in my family say, everybody ain't like you. I know everybody can't do that. Everybody can't go 11 years, especially if they already been doing the oochie coochie and things of that nature. You know, yeah, I was too focused on my life, trying to better my life, trying to achieve my goals and things of that nature. And I just had made up my mind I wasn't gonna fool around with nobody if I didn't, think they was solid or what have you. But yeah, the crazy things they will ask a woman in this organization. So what advice would you give a woman still waking up? I would say, believe yourself, you know, believe your thoughts, believe and do your research on the things that don't sit right. One of my locks. one of my locks like came out, got weak. So now I got this little shorty and I can see it. But anyway, yeah, just believe in yourself and know that, you can create a life that you truly enjoy. You know, I couldn't imagine. I couldn't imagine. My husband loved to say, "Oh, if I would have came along, you'd have still been here." I said, "No, I wouldn't." I said, "I already had my exit plan. I was gonna move to Atlanta, change my number if I had to." I was like, I was done. Yeah, like once my dad died, I think if I had to pinpoint a time, once my dad died, that's when I was I was taking all steps forward versus before, you take one step forward, two back, one forward, out of the organization, two back. But yeah, when I got in nursing school and was able to put that separation, it was a wrap. It was a wrap, you know. Yeah, Essie said good for nothing slave. Oh my God. He said it so many times. It was just like, oh God, if you didn't have no self-esteem, you definitely weren't gonna have none when you left out of there. Just a mess. So well, that's it, y'all. I thought we would have had more people on here for international. I hope the fellas didn't feel out of place just because it was International Women's Day. They could have came and talked and learned some things. But that's just what I was thinking. Like, what better way to celebrate and acknowledge than to kind of talk about the struggles while you're in there and how you can, leave and move on to bigger and better things. So I'm not gonna keep y'all. Um, I keep thinking in my head like it's really just 7 o'clock. I don't know. Till like today, I seem like I don't know why I feel like I had more energy, but when you spring forward, you lose an hour, right? So I don't know. I probably will feel it tomorrow. I think it's because I'm. I think my body is aligning with the weather. Winters and cold, it just take all my energy. But let it be a little warm and the sun out. Yeah, I don't know. I felt so energized today. And I didn't even go to sleep until late. I don't know, for whatever reason. That ever happened to y'all? You be so sleepy, you fall asleep, and then, maybe you get up, go to the bathroom, and come back thinking you're going to, just go right back to sleep. But then now you just up looking. So, yeah. But thanks for getting on, y'all. And I hope you enjoyed the discussion. A little bit different, a little bit more focused on women and their struggles in and out of the organization. Like I said at the beginning, I don't know if I'm going to upload on Tuesday and Thursday, but I am going to have 2 videos going up this week. And I don't know. We may not do next Sunday because I think I got 2 Sister Lock clients that day, so I might be so doggone tired after doing that. Yeah, I got 2 clients next week, so I'll probably do a lunchtime live or something like that. Oh, no worries, Melissa. I figure everybody is probably discombobulated with the spring ahead, so no worries. It's all good. But y'all have a good evening, have a good week. Um what else was I gonna say? I think that's it. All right, y'all. Y'all have a good night. Peace.